To access free topic sheets, worksheets, or to book an online class, visit ilearneasy.co.uk. Sentence structures. There are different types of sentence structures in English. A sentence is a set of words that is complete in itself and generally contains a subject and a main verb. A sentence also contains the correct punctuation. Think of it as a complete structure, like a house. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. Think of it as a building block, like the brick required to make a house. An independent clause makes sense on its own as a sentence. A dependent clause doesn't make sense on its own as a sentence. It's incomplete and depends on the independent clause to make sense. The different types of sentence structures are simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, compound complex sentence. Simple sentence. A simple sentence contains one independent clause. For example, the dog barks. The subject is the dog and the verb is barks. Tina plays football. The subject is Tina and the verb is plays. As you can see, this sentence is a complete idea with a subject and a verb. As you can see, this sentence is a complete idea with a subject and a verb. Compound sentence. A compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction. Remember, a conjunction joins words or part of a sentence together. Examples of conjunctions are and, but, or, for, nor, yet, like, so, etc. For example, Tom likes tea and Lucy likes coffee. Tom likes tea is an independent clause. It's a complete idea and it makes sense on its own. Lucy likes coffee is also an independent clause. It's a complete idea and it makes sense on its own. We can write the two independent clauses as two simple sentences, like this: Tom likes tea, Lucy likes coffee. But to form a compound sentence, we join the two independent clauses using a conjunction. In this example, the conjunction is and. Tom likes tea and Lucy likes coffee. Remember that the comma is placed before the conjunction. Complex sentence. A complex sentence contains one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Remember, an independent clause is a complete idea and it makes sense on its own. However, a dependent clause is not a complete idea and it doesn't make sense on its own. Therefore, it cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. The dependent clause is usually introduced by words like because, although, since, when, if, while, etc. For example, although it was raining, we went outside. Although it was raining is a dependent clause. It's not a complete sentence by itself. It requires additional information to make sense. As you can see, this dependent clause is introduced by the word although. We went outside. This is an independent clause. This is a complete sentence by itself. It doesn't require additional information to make sense. It's important to remember that when the dependent clause comes first, we must place a comma between the two clauses. So here we have the dependent clause first, comma, followed by the independent clause. We went outside although it was raining. Here is the same sentence, but the independent clause comes first, followed by the dependent clause. We went outside although it was raining. When the independent clause comes first, then a comma is not required between the two clauses. Compound complex sentence. A compound complex sentence contains two or more independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. For example, even though it was snowing, the kids went outside and they built a snowman. Even though it was snowing is a dependent clause. The kids went outside is an independent clause. They built a snowman is an independent clause. The two independent clauses are joined by the conjunction and. So this is a compound complex sentence because it contains two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Remember, the dependent clause cannot stand on its own as it doesn't make sense as a complete sentence, whereas the independent clauses can stand alone as they make sense as complete sentences. When I was doing my homework, Tom was watching TV and Lee was cooking. When I was doing my homework is a dependent clause. Tom was watching TV is an independent clause. Lee was cooking is an independent clause. The two independent clauses are joined by the conjunction and. Therefore, this is a compound complex sentence. It contains two independent clauses and one dependent clause.